Hi everybody, how's it going today? It's about 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, Wednesday, the 21st, and I want to do a quick update before I go to bed. I was staying up to see if there was opportunity to go into a long position, but because there weren't any, and I'm finding a lot of resistance right now, there's really not a lot of chances for me to enter a trade, so I'm going to call it a night very soon. We're going to do an analysis from a trendline perspective, and we're going to do analysis on price action, and we're also going to look at Elliott Waves as well. I would appreciate if you guys upvoted this on Steemit if it has helped you in one way or another, as always. I hope you guys are doing good tonight. There's been a lot of traps, tons of traps, guys, and yeah, because there's been a lot of traps, I was very cautious tonight. I didn't really enter many trades here at all. And I'm just staying extremely cautious. So we have to give respect where it's due, right? We see this massive trend line right now, and we're definitely going to give her some respect. And I'm not even going to bother drawing this big trend line anymore over here. Actually, you know what? I said I wasn't, but I'm totally going to. Ha! I'm just kidding, guys. So I'll draw this right here like that as well. We get a channel. Let's make sure that I actually touch the points here nicely. So make sure you guys are being consistent. If you're going to draw it from the top of the wick, make sure you're drawing it all from the top of the wick, like this right here as well. Consider some bear trap regions, right? You can even draw this a little bit lower like that if you like, and consider some bull trapped regions as well. But we can draw it to the most extreme. It's very subjective, right, how we draw these trend lines. Excuse me. So we see on a higher time frame, for example 4 hour, this one basically just bounced off of here, and this is also subjective, right? If I draw it like that, of course we're going to see only the wick poke through, and we see this beautiful hammer slash doge. Yeah, it's like a hammer that punctured right through the 55 moving average here. So on a 4 hour time frame, we're looking pretty good bouncing off of that, but it gets a little bit confusing. Okay, let's draw our Elliott Wave count. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be 5. Let's change the degree of it as well right now. So you guys have had a pretty cautious day, I hope. I really hope you have, because it's been a day full of traps and there wasn't really much trading opportunities in my opinion. And if I did trade, it was a struggle, right? So most of the time I was just adding more to my position if I was shorting when it was going up, and eventually just breaking even and going long as well when it was going down. I just kept adding more to my position. Yeah, I just kept adding more to my position until it finally bounced. So let's talk about the daily. The daily ended up closing with a pretty nasty candle yesterday. A very huge, like you can call it a bearish engulfing candle. And the previous day, it actually closed with this candle right there, which was a shooting star, which signaled the beginning of a reversal. So as soon as this candle formed, we can see how the market reacted, right? This closed above the 55 EMA, but as soon as this formed, yesterday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time to me, that's what happened right there. So it wasn't really too pleasant to see that happen that quickly. People entered a short position as soon as this candle formed, and boom, it dropped all the way from 12,242 all the way to what's the low here? 10,200. That was the low yesterday. Here we opened here at 10,300, and right now we're at about 10,844 with the high. We're still hovering right between this 55 EMA, which is suspect right now to me. And if I extend my trend lines as well, what we can see is this is a zone that's reaching a lot of resistance, right? So as soon as we apex into this zone, bam, we're finding tons and tons of resistance. Now this is once again very subjective how we draw it. I'm going to go over some Elliott Waves as well, and I'm going to explain to you guys how it's confusing. So when we have, for example, just 1, 2, and 3 formed, okay? I got to draw all of it actually. When we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually not all of that, I only want to show 3. So let's say we only have 3 shown right here. This could be mistaken for an ABC, and we don't really know if it's a fourth wave until a fourth wave going up or an impulse wave up until we either confirm that it is an impulse wave up, and then we say, hey, that is actually an ABC, or until we break the low of wave 3 right here. And then if we break the low of wave 3, then we'll say, okay, this is a fifth wave right here. And we have to understand the leveraging in markets, right, where it can absolutely overlap by a little bit. So let's say we go to 1 hour chart, which makes the most sense. We say to ourselves, okay, did that even come down to a 1-to-1 ratio? No, it didn't even come down to a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's very hard for me to believe that that was an actual third impulse wave down. Does that make sense, guys? It's hard to believe that this was actually a third impulse wave down. So I'm going to explain to you guys the logic of this as well. But before we get into this, we're going to talk about Elliott waves on a little bit of a detailed level. So now we have ABC coming down, right? And in the ABC coming down, what we look for, preferably, is a zigzag. And that's actually what we got on Bitcoin. We got a zigzag coming down on the lower time frame, which I'll confirm with you guys very soon as well. Let's change this to a primary. And here we actually got 5 waves coming down as well. It was kind of complicated to count, but we'll go over that as well. And in here, we basically get some sort of ABC corrective pattern. I think we might have got a different one though. No, we got an ABC, perfect, in there. So now that we get these, once again, this could be mistaken for an either waves 1, 2, this could be 3, this could be 4, and that could be a 5, right? And the way we confirm it is we wait for the 4th wave to finish, and we see if it's going to break this lower line as well. Now, if it was an ABC, there would be 5 impulse waves up, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And sometimes it can fail. And then if it does fail, and it ends up moving back down, what we would end up calling it is WXY corrective pattern. And a WXY happens very commonly when all 5 impulse waves have already gone up. So then we actually end up getting another, I'm just going to hyperbolically draw it and embellish a little bit. Don't mind it, because there's not a lot of room and I can't move any more to the right. So if that happened, what we end up getting is a WXY type of correction pattern, right? So let's break it down and let's see what you guys think as well. Right now, Elliott Wave is very difficult to analyze with that method because we just don't have as much conclusive data as we would like to have. Let's say we go to a 5-minute chart, right? It looks pretty good here. And this is all part of the 5th wave coming down, I believe, okay? So, yeah. 1, 2, probably 3, 4, and then 5, like that. So the impulse wave to me, if I were to count this, would actually be just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, where we're having struggles right now. So let's break this down even further on a 15-minute chart, for example, okay? Actually, maybe even a 5-minute chart here. If I were to break this down, I would say that's 1, 2, 3, and this is a 4th structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5 ends right there. And I remember doing a lot of analysis on this one where we got a 1-to-1 extension, right? We got pretty much a perfect 1-to-1 extension, and we just fell short of the 161.8. So we can call this, regardless of its ABC or not, we can call that wave 1 coming down. And here we get a simple ABC corrective type of pattern. AB, something like that in there, okay? So this is now officially some wave, whether it's A and whether this is B or whether this is 1 and that's 2, and we still have many more waves to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a trend line resistance, or support rather, right around this range here, right? And we see that we're struggling above it right now, and it was great that we broke above 10,750, but can we hold above it? That's the question as well right now. So I'm using a lot of different trend line analysis as well to see if it can hold. Now look at this as well. If I extend it outwards, you guys will clearly see this is where the resistance area is. Not just 10,750, but this whole area has massive resistance, which still acts as a resistance right now. And we can't really break this, if you guys have noticed, right? We can't really break above that 55 EMA on the 1 hour chart. So it's causing a lot of contention. So let's say that this was indeed wave 1, 2, right? And now I'm gonna delete this just to clear it up. Now that we've officially counted 5 in there, we've officially counted 3 in here, which was obvious. And we've also counted 1, 2, 3, 4, and basically the whole 5 subwave goes down there. So we say to ourselves, okay, if that was the 3rd impulse wave coming down, then it must at least reach a 1-to-1, because wave 3 is often the longest and never the shortest. Excuse me. But we find that it doesn't even reach close to 1-to-1. Therefore, I'm actually led to believe that it's not waves 1, 2, and 3 coming down. I'm led to believe that the ABC has finished already, for now, and we're going to take our Fibonacci from where it began. Make sure you guys understand that we take our Fibonacci tool from the beginning, okay? For all of waves 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's very crucial for you guys to understand. What we see is it's definitely bouncing off of a few critical supports. As I mentioned in all of my TAs today and in my charts, that I did expect to bounce. The only question is, how high is it going to go, right? And it's very difficult to tell if Bitcoin is actually this bullish, where it retraces only 236, because we have to assume that it was very bullish here for wave 3. That only retraced about 236. So we say to ourselves, is it even possible for it to bounce off of there, off of the 5th wave? Okay, maybe, maybe not. Most likely not, though. I don't think it's really done its correction. But based on the count right now, I've got no choice but to call this ABC right now. Okay, that makes sense? I hope you guys are following my logic for all of this. And also, this whole region right there acts as a major resistance that we clearly can't break right now. It's around the 10,850 range, maybe a little bit higher than that. Yeah, around pretty much this whole range right there. It's a cluster, right? It's a cluster that just simply cannot be broken right now, and the bulls tried. And there was a huge battle today. Let me show you guys the battle that happened, okay? It was pretty much right around here. Right around there. It was making some sort of channel for now in here. 3, 4, 5. And it broke out of it finally. It took so long. I mean, look at all the rejections that it had. Rejection, 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 rejection. And then finally it broke out of it with a little bit of conviction there. So I was pretty happy about that, you can say. So now, if this is indeed an ABC, because wave C is actually shorter than wave A, we couldn't call this wave 3, okay? We just simply could not call it wave 3. But now we can say to ourselves as well that, well, what if it was actually wave 3 and this 5th wave just happens to be very short? Well, then that would fit the criteria of Elliott Wave, because as long as wave 3 is not the shortest, then that would work out. But we have to say to ourselves that this right here, this whole last part is like an ending 5th wave flat. If I go to a lower time frame, which I'm too lazy to do, you see it making a flat. So this is not the first impulse wave up. This is actually the impulse wave up right here, okay? 1, 2, that's clearly 3, that's clearly 4, and that's clearly 5 as well, just based on the symmetry and how they are. So now I ask myself this. We're facing a critical resistance right now, and based on my deduction of having to call it an ABC, because wave 3 is the shortest right now, am I left to say that this is possibly an X, W, and that's an X, and we get a Y down there? Interesting, right? You guys follow my logic? That's what a WXY is. Let me show you guys for the people that don't understand once again. It goes ABC, we attempt an impulse wave up, like that, and if it fails because it just could not break a critical resistance, then we end up downtrending and we finish an ABC again, which now ends up being called W, X, and Y, like this. So now we, instead of getting a 3-wave ABC structure, we actually get a 7-wave ABC structure. And sometimes it actually fails miserably, and these structures are usually found after a 5th impulse wave. It doesn't really happen in the 3rd, or sorry, in the 4th or the 2nd wave. It only happens after the 5th wave. And this could possibly make an even more extended one, right? And if that happened, what we call this guy, what we call this guy is a triple Elliott Wave combo right here, where the W denotes the beginning or the end of the first ABC. The X over here denotes a failure in the impulse wave. Then we get another ABC down here for the Y position, another X for the impulse failure, and then another Z for the whole ABC down, sorry, ABC, ABC down there. So now this makes an 11-wave structure. Interesting. So based on Elliott Wave, I've got no way to call that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's really no way to draw that with 5 waves as well. Because if you look on it on any time frame, right? Let me show you guys on a better time frame as well here. Now, I'm not in a position at all for anything, so I'm fairly neutral on this. Yeah, I have to be neutral on this. I completely forgot what I was talking about, guys. I'm thinking, give me a moment. Okay, I've got no idea. So once again, this is a critical resistance area, right? That red box right there, just simply can't break it. We're trying to even get close to it, but yeah, it's a struggle right now, this main area. And I actually was watching Tony Vay's live tonight. I love that guy. He's really, really smart guy. Super smart guy. I really hope that I can be as smart as him one day. He thinks of a lot of different angles. Yeah, so we're reaching this red zone, and we have the 5 impulse waves up. So now, what I'm waiting for is I'm making note of this trend line resistance that's interacting with the 55 EMA, but I'm also noticing, guys, right here, that the volume is decreasing, right? So the market is actually losing interest in it right now. So that makes me want to go to CoinMarketCap. When I go to CoinMarketCap, scary, guys, we're gone down to less than 500 billion again, right? It's not really that good. 500 billion would have been a really good number to be at. You guys take a look at the historical 24-hour volume. You guys, yesterday we were averaging, the past 2 days, we were averaging 10 billion and 9.4 billion respectively. And today we're only averaging about 8.5 so far. Suspect. That's what I mean by the volume is decreasing. For an uptrend, we would want, we'd want a lot of volume, like right here, okay? We'd want a lot of volume initially to give it a good push up, which signals to the market, hey, there's a lot of interest right now. Let's push this guy up. For example, right here, when it pushes it up, right? But here it pushed it up a lot, right? So when we look at the volume declining over the bars, it makes you wonder what is going on. So let's do some candlestick analysis right now. So what I was going to get to first before we get to that is, let's say that this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going up, which we clearly see it is, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's no other way to see it right now. In fact, we're getting a tweezer top right now. A tweezer top basically refers to 2 tiny little wicks like a tweezer. Yes, we are bouncing off of the 55 EMA on a 2-hour chart, but the tweezer top implies there wasn't really a lot of conviction. And on the higher time frame, there really wasn't a lot of volume as well either, right? When we look at it from that perspective. So now we've got to ask ourselves, is it going to bounce off of this trend line? This trend line is really major right now because it acts as a parallel line that's sloped and channel, right? It's been established for a pretty long time for the resistance and for the support. So if you look at it right here, as you can see on the resistance at the top, right, it definitely touches it once, twice, thrice, 4th time, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and we simply could not break above this resistance. So it acts as a major resistance. On the lower end, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and now the 5 times is right here where we got some regions of bear trap. So good thing people didn't enter. You guys got to be very careful of things like that. Based on level 2, it's all over the place tonight, guys. Based on shorts versus longs, lots of bears entered the market there, got to the point where they were liquidating some of the bulls, right? When bulls get liquidated, what happens is these bears end up squeezing them out. And when they squeeze them out, let me just close this. When they squeeze them out, what they try to do is they try to force these bulls to liquidate their longs by selling with the market execution, right? Yeah, so they try to sell with a market execution. This way it adds strength to the downtrend. And that's what happened here, where you see it linearly go up here on the shorts, but here you don't see it linearly go up, right? You actually see it down ticking. So a lot of the bulls were actually getting liquidated a little bit, and then it ended up going up right here. Shorts ended up going down a little bit, and this is where we see that tiny little uptrend from about right there to up there. So let's go back to this right now. See now the next candle that opened, we've got about, it's opening at the same place. That's good, at least. But it's going to have a chance, just based on the momentum that it carries, that this one looks like a bear spinning top, right? A bear spinning top, it's got a bigger body. Nevertheless, it's a combination of a bear spinning top and also a tweezer combo. Now, if I look right here, it's actually being rejected once and now twice above the 55 EMA. On the 1-hour chart, we see this candle right there, which is like a shooting star. Think of a hammer, but upside down, this one. You can call it like that, pretty much, okay? So here we're getting a doji. Here we got like another doji, or dragonfly doji rather. So this is, in this particular position, it's very indecisive as well. Look at this one, right? We went down a little bit, got a big hammer, bounced up, got a doji, dragonfly doji, went up again. Beautiful that we almost closed above it, but we didn't quite close above it. I saw the price action here and it ended up dropping pretty quickly and significantly. On the 3-hour chart, right, we're getting this is like it's a spinning top. Whether it's bullish or bearish, it's spinning top or hammer or doji, whatever you want to call it. It's another indecision candle right there as well. On the 3-hour chart, same type of candle, right? On the 4-hour chart, it's the volume that's giving it away right now. So now I'm left wondering to myself this major question right here. Okay, is it going to break above this key zone right there? You know, a good number would be like, yeah, there's a lot of hurdles, guys. Like, there's a lot of hurdles to go up there, right? I mean, we got to break, first of all, where it is right now, around 11,800, 900 range. And then we got to break 11,900 ranges more. Like, pretty much where it is now, 800 to 900 ranges there. And then we got another major peak over here that we got to break, where it had a lot of trouble. Like, you know, take a look at here. We're looking at lots of activity over here as well. Look at this region right there, right? That's pretty overwhelming for the bears right now if they want to try to get into any decent position to close above that, or sorry, for the bulls. So now I'm left to wonder, is this one going to fail? And that's where we're talking about WXY corrective patterns, okay? If that one ends up failing, of course, we would expect it to retrace below it, right here. So now I'm waiting to see where we are going to trend in this particular area, right? Are we going to trend in this area, break upwards, which is slightly below the resistance line? Are we going to fall back to this region right here? So to me, it's kind of a no trade zone. I don't see many opportunities, right? If I entered a trade right now to go long, it wouldn't be in my best interest because I count 5 Elliott waves and I feel the correction coming very, very soon as well. I mean, it's not like we're just going to not correct and we're just going to skyrocket, right? It just doesn't really happen like that. Yeah, it doesn't really happen like that. So I'm finding a lot of resistance right now. Let's look at other indicators to see where we're at. This one is definitely going upwards, right? But for how much longer? Will it just end up curving down? We're ticking down on the histogram here. On the RSI, we're finding some support, right? We're finding this massive support right here. But how long will this last for? Really, how long will this last for? That's what I'm asking myself right now. Don't really know. Let's go look at other indicators on different time frames. On the 30-minute one, we're just getting a slope trendline support there. On the 45-minute one, it's definitely getting a series of higher lows as well. But I see it all squeezing in here as well, right? Like it's making a channel in there, almost. Take a look. It's making like some sort of... Well, not really, actually. We're not really getting a lot of points, so I wouldn't really call it like that. I mean, if I wanted to actually confine it a little bit, will that be valid right here? Okay. Is that RSI valid right now, where it's going to break up or down? So once again, lots of indecision in the market. To me, it's just no trade zone at all. It's a no-brainer to me. Are we going to get a series of a higher high and break out of the neutral zone? Remember Brown Cadence's RSI rules, okay? Brown's RSI rule is this, that neutral territory is between about, 60, 65 to about 40, 45. Like right there, that's neutral territory, right? That's the neutral territory, neutral, 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 bam, ended up coming down. And the correction right here, it ended up going to the neutral territory, and then bam, it ended up coming down to the lower end, right? And then now we're still in the neutral territory. So this is acting as a key RSI resistance right now around the 65. And we're not really getting up there right now. We're just kind of going sideways until we pop out of there. Okay, then I'll be convinced that we're now in a different zone. But right now, definitely still very neutral, even on a low time frame. If we wanted to go into a very bullish zone, according to Brown's RSI rule, is that it would be very high RSIs and it would not get to the low 40s at all, or it would get to the low 40s at most only. And if we go to a bearish zone, we're getting a very low number and up to about 60, 65. That is a bearish zone. Or a more bearish zone, you can even say 40 and under, right? and a more very, very bullish zone, you can say high number, and well above 60 or 70. Like around there, 60, 65 and up. That'd be a bullish zone. But we're facing a lot of resistance here. And every time we face a lot of resistance, like look at here, there's a cluster, right? When you see clusters like that, it ends up just breaking down. Here, we got a series of highs. So you guys got to make note of this. That's been forming since the 20th. This specific zone right there is really crucial in my opinion. Right here, we get a cluster of RSI resistances. And because we get this cluster of RSI resistances, it needs to break a specific point for a lot of conviction. So what am I looking for once again, guys, just to be very clear? Looking for a break, pretty much. A break above, say, 10,950 or something to convince that there's an uptrend. And for a downtrend, I'm going to have to be convinced that there's a lot of volume to break without any wicks. If you guys see right here, there was a series of different wicks, right? Take a look. A series of different wicks right there. Wicks, 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 wicks. And that implies alone that there's some rejection to the downside. Otherwise, we would have just shot right down. So I needed to break below this trend line resistance, or support rather. Right now, I think the number would be roughly like 10,400-ish to be considered into a more bearish territory. And for it to be bullish, I need to break above 10,900. So as it stands right now for a day trading position, absolutely no idea if it's bearish or bullish. As for swing trading, no idea as well. As for even the longer term, no idea. Well, longer term, of course, we're bullish, but I mean like over the next few days. That's long to me. So yeah, it's very, very puzzling at the moment. My recommendation is just to be very, very patient, right? Be very patient, see if we break above 10,900 or so. If we do that, great. We might be considered into a more bullish zone. But the next zone after that is between about 11,100, 11,200. So yeah, these are my quick thoughts. I just want to leave you guys with it right now. That Elliott Wave count is pretty difficult right now to count. So let's say this ends up failing, right? And that becomes one wave up there. I'm going to ask myself, is this going to become a WXY? And then we just break out of it. Right here, that would be an X for an attempted impulse wave up, because we do have 5 going up. And then if we break out of here, will it land there, right? Like if it lands here and then we go up, just as an example, it would be considered bullish. And then we would have only corrected to the 236 level. Great, and we're done. Then we're finished our major correction, which would be kind of unheard of in my opinion, kind of rare for it to be finished this early. I mean, look at it. We went up for, geez, like 15, 16 days. Could we have really finished a major correction in literally 1 day? 2 days actually. I don't know about that. Going up for 2 weeks and then correcting for only 2 days just doesn't seem that proportional. So I'm waiting to see if it's going to break above 10,900. If it does, let's see if it breaks above 11,200. But what my scenario, I'm honestly hoping for a healthier correction, because if there's a healthier correction, that basically will mean is that we have a chance to make higher highs. Everything that goes up very quickly, it needs to take a rest. If it doesn't take a rest, unfortunately, it's not going to be able to make a lot of new higher highs, despite how bullish it is, in my opinion. We need a fairly healthy correction. Have to rest if we are running very fast. We see the price just kind of hovering right now. It's not really getting into this red box of mine. It's probably not going to break out of it tonight, in my opinion, because we're officially finished the count here. I mean, if I look on the 5-minute chart, for example, right, like we're now getting a series of bottoms like this, okay? Right, we got like a double peak, it lost strength right here. Now we're getting a double bottom on the RSI right here, which implies that it might break down soon. So guys, please be cautious tonight, okay? I made this video before I went to bed, or before I'm going to bed, because I want you guys to just be cautious. And I've been waiting all night to see if there was going to be a lot of confirmation with volume. And because there hasn't been any, I got really no reason to enter a trade. I mean, we might get one more subwave up, but that's kind of it. But you guys have to see if it breaks above like 10,950, and the next one, the resistance area is about at 11.1 all the way to 11.2. If these fail, you guys can expect to watch it in this box right here, okay? Watch in this box right here to see if it bounces from here and it goes up, and if it gets a higher high than where it previously finished, that one might be a good sign for an impulse wave up. But if it doesn't, if it breaks out of here, then we'll make note of this red line right here, okay? if we make note of this red line in here, or this yellow one, and let's say we ended up getting, you know, one more massive wave down there, then we can say that, hey, this is actually WXY, like this, W, and this was a failed impulse wave up, and we get another Y all the way down there somewhere. If it breaks out of the channel resistance, that's one, or channel support, that's really important. And the second criteria is that it has to get a lower low than this W region right here for us to consider a WXY. So guys, I'm really on the fence right now. I apologize if I can't really give a straight answer. Sometimes the market is very hard to read, and there's a lot of mixed signals as well right now. I spent a majority of my time researching, actually. I try to find correlation with other technical analysts while comparing it to mine as well. And I look up to a lot of analysts out there, and there's not a single person that really has any idea right now if this is the end of the correction yet or not. Anybody who thinks that it is done, they're probably just guessing. Anybody who thinks it's not done, they're probably guessing as well. There's no decisive play here for a break above the resistance, and there's no decisive play for a break below as well. So we're kind of all just in limbo right now, just waiting. But one thing I will make note of, that I'm sure of, is that we're losing steam and the volume right here. Unless we pick it up somehow very soon, nothing really yet, guys. I think that we'll find out in about 6 to 8 hours. We'll find out if we break up there or we fall back down here and then fall even lower. So that is my thought for tonight, guys. I really appreciate you supporting me as always and watching the video. I really do recommend being extremely cautious tonight, okay? Because we don't have a clear and definitive and concise direction because there's lack of conviction with volume and parabolic moves even, right? We're not really ticking up slowly, if you guys have noticed, okay? Like, take a look at this. This is impulsively going up. Yes, it is, but that was kind of expected. Now the question is what's going to happen afterwards, right? If I had to guess, honestly, I don't think we're going to break it, guys. I really cannot expect a 4-day trend to go up like that. 14 days, and then have only a 2-day correction at the 236 level. Bitcoin just doesn't do that, guys. If it did that, we would have had a much more bullish momentum to begin with, right? But because the first subwave, I'm talking about way over here, the first subwave was so choppy, we can expect that there wasn't really that much momentum to go up to begin with, right? And that's why everyone's been on the fence right now. So stay tuned, guys. I'll be sure to update you in about 8 hours. I'm going to probably call it a night very soon. Thank you for watching the video. I would appreciate an upvote on Steemit. Please be extremely careful tonight if you guys are day trading and scalping for positions. Other than that, have a great night. Please like, subscribe, and share. Be sure to follow me on all three, guys. YouTube, Twitter, and Steemit. I just want to make sure you guys have the most relevant information all the time with where I stand as well. And have a good night, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye now.